Overview of library services. I know a lot of you may know quite a bit about library services, so now's the best time to ask your in-depth questions. We'll go over a little bit of just like the broad things the library can offer you, and then we'll go a little bit more in depth in searching PubMed. So we'll go ahead and dive into everything. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned, my name is Alyssa Peterson, by the way, and I'm a medical librarian here. So let's keep going. So the outcomes of today's session will discover how the Schusterman Library can support you during residency, or whatever else you're doing here, from free coffee to clinical reference tools and professional librarian assistance. We'll find out how you can harness the power of your library and your librarians from any location. And then we'll utilize PubMed to craft effective search strategies and uncover scholarly literature quickly and easily. So here's just a broad overview of the various research support activities that the library can offer through resources, services, etc. Of course, we have books, journals, e-journals, online databases, ebooks. We have interlibrary loan for items that we can't get you physically right away. You can get articles or books for free. We offer research consultations or literature search requests if you want a librarian to work through a research question with you, whatever stage you're at. If you just maybe saw a patient that had a condition you've never seen before and want more information, or maybe you're working on a research project. We also offer technology checkout, so if you need a laptop or a projector, maybe you're presenting at a conference or you just want to show a movie in your backyard, we're not picky. You can still check out the projector. And of course, we also have peace and quiet, so you can really get down to the nitty-gritty work that you're doing. And then, of course, there are some fun things the library has going on as well. So if you need to de-stress, maybe with a puzzle or a coloring book, you need to charge your phone, we offer all of that as well. So we'll go ahead and go into the library website, which is library.tulsa.ou.edu, and kind of show you where some of the things are on our website. Probably the most important feature to know about is the Chat Now button. So any of the hours that the library is open, we're available to chat with you from wherever you are. So if you're in the hospital, in the clinic, and you need a quick question answered, you can chat from the website. We also have a number you can text if you visit Contact Us. Send us a text message right here, 918-856-5733. Of course, you can always give us a call and talk to us on the phone. You can email us. You can show up and ask for help. We have the staff directory as well. If you maybe talk to somebody in a class or saw someone in the library and you want to get back in touch with them, you can find everyone here, email, phone, or just come stalk us in the library, whatever works best for you. And then another big important thing is this start here to find books and journal articles. So you'll want to make sure you're on the ouhsc.edu tab so that we can make sure we're linking you up with the proper databases, e-journals, etc. And the search bar is really cool because you can search all of the physical materials that the library has. So if you're looking for a book or maybe a hard copy of a journal, but it also searches all of our electronic content as well. So if you're looking for a PDF of an article or maybe a dissertation, you can find those things here. So if we just do a quick search for Oklahoma, you can see that we're pulling up a lot of results, but then you can begin to filter here. So if you only want things you can physically get a hold of in the library, you can do that. We can go back. You can filter differently too. Say you only want things that have been published in the past 2 years or so. You can make that happen. So you can kind of play with all of these filters. And then actually, if you sign in up here, you can also save things to your account. If you want to remember where they are for later, you can put a hold on a book so that you can come pick it up at the library's front desk. All of that is possible. So then if we go back to the home page, over here, we just kind of have our blog and different news items. So if you want to know about the most recent resources we've connected with, or if you want to know about events or free food, good place to find out. And then the library resources for section is also pretty helpful. If you click on the community medicine tab, we have a curated list of databases, ebooks, and e-journals that are specific to medicine. So if you really want to find Access Medicine, Access Pediatrics, We have some other things too, like Dynamed Plus, which is a really nice clinical point of reference tool. And they actually have an app. So if you go to Dynamed, you can see here, you can just search for anything. So if we want to look up diabetes or something, you can get a lot of evidence-based information. There's a whole list of subtopics within here. So if we want to look at type 2 in adults, sorry, it's a little slow to load. We get like a quick overview and background recommendations. Maybe you're looking specifically at treatment. And it will tell you what grade of evidence each thing has, which is really nice. And then at the end, of course, there's references if you want to read more and find out where Dynamed is getting all of this information. And then back on the Dynamed Plus homepage, right here, the Get the Dynamed Plus mobile app. If you click here, just put in your email address and it will send you a link so that you can download the app and get access to all of that content on your phone, if you have a tablet, however you want to make that work. Then if we go back to the library website, there are other things in the community medicine tab as well, in addition to the databases, of course, ebooks, e-journals. There's specific ones, but you can also get to the full list back on the home page. And then for materials that we don't have access to, just request a book or request an article. They actually go to the same page. ILLiad is our interlibrary loan system. So if you log in here, which hopefully I can remember my login so I can show you. Yeah, I think that's working. Oh, nope. All right, let's try one more time. And if it doesn't work, I'll trust that you all can figure it out. Or we have handouts that I can get you afterwards. There we go. So here you can put in a new request for articles or for books. So that's pretty simple. You just fill out the information that it's asking for. And then once you've put in a request, you can see any outstanding requests you have. So right now I haven't requested anything, but this is where you'd be able to see, oh, my item's in process, or it will be here in 2 days. And then if you're getting an article, you can log back in and any articles that you've received will pop up right here. So then you can download the PDF. The only thing about this is this little PDF here will disappear after 30 days. So make sure you download your PDFs when you know they're in there, and then you can keep them forever. PDF will just disappear from this page. And then you'll also get an email if you requested a book and you can come pick that up physically at the library. And then, of course, you can always meet with a librarian to work on your literature search, but if you are really busy and don't have time or you want a second set of eyes on what you're doing, you can always click the Request a Literature Search button, and you just fill out a pretty easy Qualtrics form telling us who you are and what information you're looking for. And a librarian will get back to you in a few days with a batch of citations, which is really helpful. Okay, and then we offer a few other things like poster printing when it comes time for Research Week, Clinical Vignette Symposium, whatever else you would need a poster printed out for. We can help you with that when the time comes. If you have any other questions, frequently asked questions, you can always contact us. All of that goodness. Does anyone have any questions right now about library services? Okay, awesome. Well, you're all library experts now, so spread the word about the goodness that is the Schusterman Library. Oh, and then we do have a library over in the clinic, actually, Morning Crest Health Library. So if you're ever over in the Schusterman Clinic here on campus, you can get help right where you are as well. And Ruth, who's the librarian over there, is really great with patient health information as well. So if you want to send patients over there to get help as well, she is perfectly happy to do that. So we will go back to our presentation. See, oh yes, sir.
Good question. It's about the request an article. Is it free or do we have to pay anything for the article?
As long as you're with OU, it's completely free. So if you put in your request, we'll get the article for you, no fee attached whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so don't pay the $50 that the internet wants you to give them for a PDF. Don't do it. We'll save you money. So, who's ever searched for anything before on a database, on Google, maybe WebMD? I mean, whatever you're searching, you've searched for something before, right? Yeah, so there's kind of a process usually, right? Like you have to think about what you want to search for, maybe what your research question is, or maybe you just have a vague topic in mind that you want to find information about. So when we're searching for biomedical literature, maybe for a research paper or for patient care, we really have to plan. So we'll think of our research question, maybe think of a PICO. Has anyone heard of PICO before? That's good. Well, we will review to make sure that everyone's on the same page. And then, of course, you brainstorm different synonyms. Maybe if you're looking up cats, you could look up cats or kittens or felines to get a wealth of information. And then, of course, you have to select where you're going to search. Are you going to Google it, or are you going to use Medline? There's appropriate situations for both, so you just have to think about which one fits your need in that moment. And then, of course, we start searching so we can experiment with filters. Maybe we want information that's been published in the last 5 years, or we only want information about cats that are over 10 years old. I don't know. You choose what you're searching for, no judgment. And then, of course, you can modify your search terms and your filters as needed, and there's a lot of trial and error. So sometimes the first search you do doesn't work out very well, but that's okay. No one has to know, just try again. Or maybe your first search is perfect. Good for you. Now try it in a different database. See maybe if you get different or better results. So that's the research part. A lot of people forget about that step, but it's very important so that you can broadly cover the topic that you're looking for. And then, of course, you can find your full text articles so you can begin to read about the information that you found. So step 1, planning. We have our research question. It's preferable if it's clear and specific and inclusive. I think there's a whole session about research questions later on, so if you need help with that, check out the schedule. But then, of course, once we have our research question, for searching purposes, it's really helpful if we use the PICO method. So if you think about what's our person or our problem, are we looking at, in general, resident physicians, or maybe we're specifically looking at middle-aged women with migraines? You have to figure out what is your problem or your patient. And then what are you trying to do with that? What intervention do you want? Do you want to treat? Do you want to diagnose? Do you just want to kind of explore and find out more? Is there a treatment that you can compare? Maybe we're looking at what kind of cat food cats prefer, or something like that. And then we have outcomes. So what do you want to happen? Do you want the cat to eat more food? Do you want the middle-aged woman to have less migraines? You have to think about everything broadly. So I have a research question for us today. Is exercise or mindfulness a more effective treatment for stress in resident physicians? So what do we think the P is in this? What's our patient or our problem or our population? Yes, resident physicians, that is correct. So we have our P, so what is our intervention? What are we trying to do? Well, I guess the residents are stressed, so that's important to note in our problem, right? They're stressed physicians. So what are we trying to do to help them? Exercise or mindfulness, right? We're trying to solve their problem. So our intervention could be exercise and our comparison could be mindfulness. Which one relieves stress better? Maybe a 30-minute run on the treadmill or maybe a 30-minute meditation session. And then our outcome, that's pretty clear, right? We want less stressed out residents, right? Okay, so perfect. We have our PICO. We are ready to go to, well, here's just a review. So stressed residents, exercise, mindfulness, and less stress. So now that we have our research question, we have to think about what database we want to use. If you all were searching to answer this question, what would you start with first? And it's okay if it's Google. Ovid, okay. That's a very good option. Anyone else? PubMed, also a very good option. So today we're actually going to dive into PubMed, but it's really nice because if you're searching Ovid, Medline, or PubMed, they're actually searching the same database. It's just a different interface is all. So you're getting the same rich, amazing information. It might just look a little different on your screen than Ovid may, and that's totally okay. So PubMed is actually my favorite database just because it is so broad, and I think it's pretty user-friendly. You can almost treat it like Google, which is very nice. And it also covers almost 30 million citations, which is a ton. So you'll probably find at least a little something about whatever you're searching for. The other really great thing about PubMed is that it's freely available for anyone to search. It's run by the National Library of Medicine through the National Institute of Health. So I can search PubMed, you can search PubMed, your neighbor can search PubMed, anyone can do it. You just go to pubmed.gov and poof, it's there. But there is a really nice thing about the library's link to PubMed is that it links you with all of the free full text the library can get you. So not only are you getting a ton of results, but you also are probably getting a lot more full text options if you use the library link. So you're always looking for this little OTool, OUHSC lib, but I will show you how to get there from the library website. I will not make you memorize that. That is awful. But just a little bit more about PubMed before we go there, but here's a little screenshot of the homepage. PubMed is actually indexed with medical subject headings. So all of Medline, it's the National Library of Medicine's controlled vocabulary for indexing biomedical literature. And all of the terms are arranged in a hierarchical structure, so it's kind of like a tree. So there are really, really broad categories. Like if you look down here at the very bottom of the screen, we have a really broad technology and food and beverages category. And somehow in there we have information centers, and then libraries is even a smaller subset of that, and then medical libraries. And then of course you can also just look for the National Library of Medicine very specifically. So what's also nice is that when you're using the medical subject headings, it automatically grabs all of the synonyms for that word for you. So if you typed in health science library instead of libraries, comma medical, you're still going to get matched to the same batch of results. So it's kind of like if Twitter standardized their hashtags, if you searched for cats, hashtag kittens, hashtag Catterday, whatever, it would all end up in the same place. And so that's what mesh terms have done, but for biomedical literature. Any questions about that? Is that kind of clear? Okay, good, because that's one of the weirder things to grasp, I think, about PubMed. So we'll go ahead and dive into PubMed. So if you go back to the library homepage, under that nice community medicine tab, we'll scroll down. These are in alphabetical order, so sorry, you have to scroll just a little bit, but you can always bookmark this link too if this is too much scrolling for you, not a problem. So we'll just click on PubMed, and then we're here on the homepage. So if you think back, we had our PICO before, right? Our stressed residence, exercise, and mindfulness. So we'll go ahead and we'll just try a search first, and then we'll play with it later. So we have residence, stress, exercise, mindfulness. Also, apologies in advance, I'm terrible at spelling, so if I spell anything wrong, sorry. We're searching, okay. So it was really easy, right? We just typed in 4 words like it was Google, we hit enter, poof, we have results. But unfortunately, we only found 3 results, which is kind of sad, but that's okay. We will fix that. So PubMed is really nice, and then it gives you this little search details box over here on the right, which lets you see what PubMed is doing with those 4 words that we typed in. So if you click on See More, you can actually see how PubMed is translating our keywords into the way that PubMed is searching for our things. So if you see residence is being searched with this tag of all fields. So that means PubMed is looking for the word residence in the abstract, in the title of the article, in the journal titles, through author name, all of that good stuff. It's looking for any mention of the word residence. And then you see with stress, it's actually finding, apparently there's a journal that's called stress. So it's looking for that journal, or just stress as a keyword again, like we did with residence. But then the nice thing down here, if you come further with exercise, is that it's actually found the mesh terms, so those medical subject headings, for exercise. So it's automatically linking that together. So if somebody was using maybe physical fitness or workout to mean exercise, it would link back to that term. And it's doing the same thing for mindfulness too. But do you also see all of these big ands in here? Residence and stress and exercise and mindfulness? So those are Boolean operators. Who's heard of those before? A few of you. Very good. Nice. Well, as just a quick review, we'll pop into this guy. You can see here we have our nice little Venn diagram. So if it's kind of hard to see, but if you were doing a search for maybe veganism or vegetarianism, if you're using that and Boolean operator, you're only getting those results there in that sweet spot in the middle. So articles that specifically mention both things. But if you're using or instead, you see now we're getting a lot more results because we're getting both sides of the Venn diagram. which is really nice, right? We automatically have a lot more search results. And then not is a kind of a special one that you might not use very often, but say you were trying to get rid of the vegetarian articles and only wanted vegan articles, then you could say vegan, not vegetarian. You just have to be careful if you use not, because sometimes you can get rid of results that might have been really useful or relevant to you. So if we go back to PubMed, we see that PubMed is automatically putting an and in between all of our keywords. But do we need both exercise and mindfulness in every article we find? Would it be okay if maybe some were just about stress and exercise and others maybe were about stress and mindfulness? Right? We think that would be okay? Okay. Well, I like to think about Boolean operators like a little bit of math, kind of like order of operations back in algebra. So if we add our parentheses, right? So we want exercise or mindfulness. So now we can get residence and stress and exercise, or residence and stress and mindfulness, right? And we can even add ands in there if that helps you think about it. So we have residence and stress and exercise or mindfulness. And we'll just make sure those are all capitalized. We click search, and now we have 125 results. So that made a big difference, didn't it? So that's one of the things you really have to think about with PubMed is what terms you're using in between your keywords. But then maybe we can start to filter that information too. So maybe we want articles from the last 10 years, which gets us down to 74, so looking even better. Maybe we want articles written in English, right, so we can actually read them. So right here you see we're filtering for publication dates, species, text availability, but there's also this nice show additional filters, and that's where we can find the filters for language. If you wanted to filter by age, maybe, we can show all of those. So now you have the options to click, okay, I only want English. We could add an age limit since most residents are probably 19 plus years, but it's not really relevant to this search, so we won't stress PubMed out by making it filter more for us. Now we have 69 results, which is pretty great. So you can start to look through the search results. It's highlighting those keywords for us, which is kind of nice. We can see where it's pulling those things out of. Not looking too bad. Ooh, but look at 9. See, we're pulling up elderly nursing home residents. Is that the same kind of resident that we mean? No, right? We were looking for resident physicians. So when we see this residents all fields, we don't see the mesh, right? So it's not pulling up that medical subject heading, which is a little sad. We want to find the subject heading so that we can get all of the different synonyms. Maybe things are listed as intern for first-year residents or listed under residency instead of residence. So we can actually search for a mesh term instead of searching PubMed. If you click the little pull-down guy over here, they're alphabetical, so we'll just find mesh, and then we can clear out everything else because we just want to find or search for residents. So we'll go ahead and click search. And you see here it's pulling up 4 different options: wandering behavior, group homes, SPRU, and community health workers. I don't think any of those are what we're looking for, are they? So this is an opportunity for us to brainstorm synonyms. So I think before I said residency, so let's see if maybe that can pull up a better, so internship and residency, and then we can actually click on that mesh term and see what that's being defined as. So programs of training in medicine and medical specialties offered by hospitals for graduates of medicine. So that sounds what we're looking for, right? Which is really nice. And then if we wanted to find subheadings, like maybe we're specifically interested in education within internship and residency, or we're looking specifically at maybe trends, you can always choose to filter those things by just clicking the box. Which, with something like internship and residency, we may not use those, but maybe if we're looking at a really broad topic like diabetes, and we only want things on treatment, we'd want to find that treatment subheading, right? And then you can also restrict to the major mesh heading here as well. So if you want internship and residency to be one of the main foci of the article, so instead of just being mentioned in passing, like maybe somebody who was stressed was cared for by a resident, well, that's not really what we're looking for, right? So we can make that a major topic and then just click add to search builder, and then it just pops in the box for us. And now you can see we have the MAJR instead of mesh right here. That's just showing it's a major topic. So then stress was doing the same thing with that all fields, right? Or that stress journal. So if we go ahead and look for stress as well, you see it carried over our search term from before. And then we can start browsing through these and see if we can find the exact term that we're looking for. So it looks like stress psychological might be in the right area. Let's click on that one. Yeah, not bad. So some of them have a lot more subheadings, like stress has a lot more than internship and residency, right? And then you can also see all the entry terms for what stress is being used for. So we have life stress, psychological stress, mental suffering, emotional stress. So it kind of sounds like the right thing. And you can also see where that's falling in the tree. So it's a behavioral symptom, we have stress, and even narrower than that, we have compassion fatigue. So right now we'll just go ahead and stick with stress. We can add that to the search builder, and here you get to choose what Boolean you use. So if we want and, or not. We'll stick with and for today. And click add to search builder. So then we can search PubMed, and that takes us back to searching for citations of articles. So we're back to that main page we saw before with our journal article citation list in the middle, our filters on the left, and other various stuff on the right. So then we can add back in our exercise or mindfulness. Click search, and we get a batch of 11. So not too bad. That still might not be enough to maybe write a systematic review over, but now at least we've got 11 super relevant articles, so we can begin to read those and maybe find other literature. We could take this search in a different database and see maybe if PsycInfo pulls up more articles about stress than, say, PubMed does. So do we have questions about the search process? I know we went through a lot pretty quickly. So I want to make sure you have time to get it all out there. Or even if there wasn't something here that confused you, but maybe you've searched PubMed before and something was kind of off, we can talk about that too. Okay, well, we'll do a quick review of finding full text. I know that's a very important part of the search process. So we can just click on this first article up here. It's actually good to kind of look at what all information is included in one of the PubMed references too. You can see we have our journal, volume, issue, all of that title, but then we also get the abstract, which is really nice. And then down here, you can actually see what mesh terms are being used to describe this article. And actually, I found that to be really helpful before too. If maybe you're really struggling to come up with literature that you think is relevant, but you found that one perfect article, you can go look at the mesh terms that are being used to describe that and maybe try adding those to your search. So you see things like job satisfaction, prevention and control is one of the subheadings for stress, which is nice. We're trying to relieve stress in residence, right? So prevention and control could be good. Workload, education, medical graduate. So you could always or those in to maybe use internship and residency or education, medical graduate, and then keep the rest of the search string the same to see if you can kind of broaden those results a little bit. So that's really nice. And then up here with the full text links. So the Schusterman Library full text, that's what you're getting with that little OTool OUHSC-lib link from the library. So if we click there, then it's actually taking us back to that library start here search. And you can see the little green dot means the full text is available. So to view full text, you can just click this tab. And then from here, it's just following a lot of links. Usually, sometimes the article is available through multiple sources. Sometimes if it's not available at all, there'll just be a little interlibrary loan button here. And if you click that, it will actually fill out the interlibrary loan form for you. So you don't have to remember the article title or the journal issue or whatever. Automatically does it. Just make sure you click the Iliad Tulsa button instead of the Iliad OUHSC because you want your items to show up here in Tulsa. So we'll click here. And then, well, let's see if it will let us log in. It's trying. Sorry, it's a little slow. Okay, well, that's okay, because sometimes this happens, right? So we have to come up with ways to work around when we can't get to the article that we want to get to. So sometimes it's as simple as going back to the article and just trying to search for it again. Making sure always that this Health Sciences Center logo is up here. Oop. And now you can see we're getting a lot of results, but if we want to just find the one we're looking for, maybe limit by peer-reviewed articles, and then you just kind of have to scroll. Weird. So it's not actually popping up at all now, but that's okay. This would be a time when you could use the interlibrary loan. So if you expand a search beyond OUHSC, you can get it to pop up, and now it's saying no full text, but if you click locations and availability, now you can click Iliad Tulsa. And poof, see, it filled out the form for us, so that's really nice. Then we can just click submit request, and since I already logged in, it remembers who I am and all of that good stuff. But we'll try a different article and see if we can get to the PDF. Let's see, maybe something a little older. Yeah, this one from 2015. So now if we click our Schusterman Library full text options, we can view the full text. Now you see it's actually taken us to the journal website, so then you can kind of play around in there and find out exactly where that article is. And it looks like this one's just from a medical society, so maybe you wouldn't want to use that in your research article anyway, but it always could have great references at the bottom to more helpful information. So any questions about the full text process? Okay, does anyone want to see a second database, maybe to see how we could do the same search somewhere else? Well, I mean, we can always go back to homepage. So then, if you wanted to try it somewhere else, you could go to, we'll do PsycInfo. That one's kind of fun. Oh, it's not linking on here though. That's okay. If we want a database that's not in that list, if you click Find Databases, you're always looking for BIRD or OUHSC. And then we can go to their full list of databases and find PsycInfo, which is another one available through Ovid. So if you've ever searched Ovid Medline, it looks very similar to searching Ovid PsycInfo. Get rid of all of these guys. So then you see it looks a little different, but we can still do our keywords from before. Residents, and see if that will get us anything. And then you can see it's taking you to possible subject headings, kind of like that mesh search was. So nursing homes is one of our options, but then we also have medical residency, the actual kind of residency we're looking for. You can select, and again, it will do, it's auto-exploding, so it's grabbing all of the terms that fall under medical residency in the tree of terms, which PsycInfo is actually using a different subject heading tree, but it works just the same as mesh. And then you can focus, which is the same as making something a major topic. And then we'll continue. So then we have our terms. So now if you wanted to add stress, you can search for that. And there's a lot of different options, but if you click the little scope guys, it will tell you exactly what kind of stress this is. So, sounds okay. We can focus it, continue, and then at this point, now we can add things together. So if we want to add medical residency and stress, you get to choose your Boolean, and you're ready to go. So you could keep adding terms, etc., etc. Not pretty clear? Awesome. Okay, well, just a few more little search tips and tricks, and then I can send you guys on your way. If the Booleans aren't getting you far enough, you can always add quotation marks to a search term to get exactly the words you're looking for. So maybe if you're trying to find information on adverse childhood experiences, there's not actually a mesh term for that yet, but if you searched it in quotes, you might be able to get some more relevant results. And then asterisks actually act as a wildcard. So if you're searching for information on nurses, by adding in the asterisk, you can get nurse, nurses, nursing. There's probably other variations of that word I can't come up with. So that kind of works like that as well. And actually, if you go to PubMed, we can try it out once just to see what that looks like. If we actually do the nurse search, Now you can see over here, I think PubMed only does like the first 500 or 600 variations of a word. But you can see that it's searching a lot of stuff. Or if you try the other version too, adverse childhood experiences. I think I spelled experiences wrong, so it's probably not going to get us anything. Ta-da! If you spell it right, suddenly lots of results. And then just a preview for next month on September 20th, this same room, 12 o'clock. We'll learn about EndNote, which is a citation management software. It's amazing. It can do so many things. It lets you download all of the stuff you find on PubMed or PsycInfo or Ovid Medline and keeps it all in one place for you. You can store your PDFs there. You can make bibliographies. There's a really cool cite while you write feature. So if you're typing away in Word, working on that journal article, EndNote will actually migrate all of your citations over for you. It will number them correctly, or it will change from maybe you originally wrote the article in APA citation style, but now you need it in AMA. It will magically change that for you. It's amazing. It's a life changer. You should definitely come if you can. Just make sure you try to install EndNote on your computer before you come so you can actually do some stuff hands-on. And that way, if you have any questions or problems, I can help you while we're all here. All right. Any last questions about anything? Okay, well, thank you so much. There are handouts up front if you need my card or just the main library information. We have an interlibrary loan flyer as well. I know that can be tricky sometimes. All right, well, thank you.